a glorious spring morning we've got here. I'm going to be working in the house garden today, which is just behind the camera, in the south border, which runs along the whole length of the wall at the bottom end of the garden. I've got Mark here with me as well. He's just sowing some seeds in the old greenhouse. While I'm getting all my things together and setting up over there, I'm going to give you a quick look on how beautiful the woodland looked early this morning when I got up. The hellebores, just everything. It was so magical. Take a look at this. Isn't it beautiful? This is a Prunus cercifera pisardii, and it is the first blossoming plum tree in the whole of our garden, and I really look forward to it every single year. And these beautiful pink flowers form on these bare stems. When we first planted this tree, it used to flower in February, and as it has aged and become much more mature, it now flowers around mid-March. But then it produces these beautiful dark leaves and has this lovely presence in this corner of the garden. The other tree I have in this border is this one just here. This is a pyrus, a weeping pear. It doesn't look very much now, but it's got these lovely, inconspicuous, delicate flowers just starting to form on it just now. And I absolutely love this tree because of its form and its shape and its beautiful silver leaves. And it's very delicate looking as well. We do try and keep it semi-clipped into a kind of mushroom shape. So a lot of this will need to come off here to lift the canopy and help us see what's underneath. My mother-in-law bought me this tree for my 40th birthday and I absolutely love it. And it is a really nice focal point as you approach this border from the house. When we first moved here, this whole back section was covered in a weed called bindweed. And I had to be extremely patient. We managed to acquire some carpet from an old marquee company that had folded their business. And we decided to cover this whole back wall up to where I'm standing with this carpet to suppress the bindweed. I didn't want to use chemicals, and I just decided to play the long game and wait it out before I was to plant anything here, because I knew that if I was too eager and planted up this area while the bindweed was still active, I would never have got rid of it. It is one of those deep-rooted perennial weeds that once it's entwined in your border, it's almost impossible to get rid of. So I thought I'm going to eradicate it first before I plant up. It took approximately 3 years until it had completely suffocated underneath it. And it did keep coming up along the edges. And all I needed to do was keep plucking it and plucking it. And by doing that, I weakened the root system beneath. And then eventually my patience paid off and I got rid of it. Fingers crossed it hasn't come back. And then I set about planning this section of the garden. I knew I wanted 2 trees with contrasting coloured leaves. I knew I wanted this to be a lovely, soft cottage style feel with all your lovely sort of pinks and whites and yellows and your classic peonies and irises and roses. And I set about making a little plan and bought all the pots and plants, and some things were given to me as well. I set about planting up this area. It has evolved and changed over the years. This border has probably been in now a good 15, 14 years-ish. Now, hopefully my memory will stay with me on this one, and I'm going to try and talk you through what is planted in here. I may miss a few things along the way, but as long as you get the idea on what is in here, and you can then start to visualize how it's all going to erupt come end of April, May and June. And we'll start at the end, just over here. Now, this end of the border, I wanted to put some peonies. I had spotted, way before I planted all of this up, the beautiful peony Mollicowitzii, which you can see on this picture here. It is nicknamed Molly the Witch, and it has the most exquisite butter yellow flowers, and I look forward to it every single year. I started out with 3 tiny little pots, 9cm pots. I picked them up in a nursery on the coast not far from here, and I was told when I bought them that they would probably take about 3 to 4 years until they flowered. This was going to test my patience, and in they went, and I checked them every single year, and I just got leaves and kept hoping and hoping that one day they would flower, and eventually they did, and my goodness, they did not disappoint. I equally love their, look at this, they're beautiful, almost rhubarb-like shoots coming out the ground now. I now only have 2 clumps, but this one here is doing significantly well. I do have some geraniums scattered around. I've got a salvia here. I don't remember the names of everything, but I do remember how they look. And this salvia has a very pretty, delicate blue flower, and it does flower a bit later. And then just here, which is what I'm going to cut back today, this is just your Japanese anemone, the white flowering one, the Honorine Yobert, I think that's how you pronounce it. And then we've got here this beautiful rose. This is Rose Jenny that my girlfriend gave to me as a birthday present. She always tries to find me plants with my name on them. And this does exceptionally well, and it is probably one of the prettiest roses here. I'm obviously biased because it's named after me, but look at this flower. Isn't that beautiful? Then I've got this beautiful, this is a variegated iris that my mother-in-law gave to me, and I've since split it, and there's just more further down. Behind here I do have some persicaria, which you can't see right now, and then further back I have a spirea, which is doing okay, amazingly, considering it gets not very much light. This here is a phlomis. Again, they're pretty tough. At the very back here, this great big variegated, golden variegated shrub, this is a Lonicera Bagason's Gold. And I knew it would tolerate a significant amount of shade, which is why it lends itself as a good backdrop So when this is not in leaf, this carries on the winter show in here. Although I've not planted this area up as a winter performing border, this is more of your May-June flowering border. There's a bit more persicaria here, a little bit more geranium. I have another peony, can't remember the name of it, but it's very pretty. I've got a lavender at the front, and then I've got some camasias coming up here. Sorry, camasias coming up behind me, and a geranium. And then these I'm pretty sure are Hemerocallis, the daylily. Just here, this is a Cephalaria, which is your giant yellow scabious. Looks fabulous. I do have another one in a pot somewhere, which I might put over there. At the very back here, I've got some echinops, which grow really quite tall, nice blue heads on them. And when we came here, we moved some roses from our previous garden, and I had 6 white Winchester Cathedral roses. 3 went into the white border, 3 went into here. Now roses do have a bit of a lifespan. I would say they perform at their absolute best within their first 10 to 15 years, even 20. Bearing in mind these were moved from our previous garden, so they already performed their best lives there, and then continued to perform here when they were moved, but these now have declined quite significantly, and I'm probably going to take them out fairly soon. But the thing with roses, when you take them out, you need to dig a very, 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 very deep hole if I wanted to replace them with other roses, because their roots are so deep and they take a lot of nutrients out of the soil. So that's for another day. I do let foxgloves self-seed in here, so there's lots and lots of foxgloves that scatter themselves in here. Some years I have lots, other years I don't have so many. I have some beautiful little white allium, the little white alliums that just pop up along the front here. And just here, I did a little bit of reshuffling in this section of the border. And I think there's going to be a stage where I might completely dig everything out of this border and rejig it again. But I'm fairly happy with it right now. So I've got this, this is Verbena Bampton, which I'm going to cut right back to the ground today. And I've got this rose here, which I have done a video on when I actually planted it. This is the brand new David Austin Rose Emma Bridgewater. Oh, and it's just beautiful, and I'm very tempted to plant more. I've only got one in here, and this will be its, because it was only launched last year, so this will be its 2nd year, and they usually take about 3 years to really get into their stride. And I'll be interested to see what sort of area it covers in this section. And if I feel I might want more, maybe a couple more, we'll see, maybe here and here. I've planted a few grasses, I've got a little bit of gower in here, and I just wanted this to sort of fill out and be a little bit wispy and frothy. So we'll see how this performs and how it works out. Just next to it here, we have the Euphorbia wolfenii, which is fabulous, and it has seeded around, which is great because I can move them into other sections of the garden. I've got some golden madram sitting at the base here with the Euphorbia at the back, and they all tolerate a little bit of shade. I've got more foxgloves, and just here, which again is going to be cut back today, this is an Iris sibirica. I'm pretty sure that was given to me as well. And it is a beautiful blue, again sits wonderful against the silver leaves of the weeping pear. And just behind I've got a sedum matrona, which has been in here for quite a few years, and I'm very tempted to move it into the new section of garden that we're currently working on, because I think it probably needs a lot more sun. As this has gotten bigger, I think this just needs a bit more space to itself. So we'll come back to that. Lots more foxgloves, another euphorbia, and I've got, again, this variegated iris. I don't get many flowers from it. I only really like it for its foliage. And what I think we're going to do today is dig this out, which I'll show you, dig it out and split it. Because at the moment, I've only got this one and the one I've just shown you. And I'm pretty sure we have had one near the middle. So you've got a nice 3 sections of them which draw the eye around the whole border. But I think that one must have disappeared over time. I don't know, it might have got stifled out by something. But anyway, that's one definite job today. This is Rose Gertrude Jekyll, beautiful pink. So again, the pink against the silver, against the variegation, and some foxgloves dotted around at the back, and it's just dreamy. I have a Pavoskia at the back, which again, it's doing okay. And then I have another Phlomis, I think, which is a pink flowering one, which is very pretty, seems to be doing fine. Just as we get to this end section behind these 3 clipped box balls, I've got a mass of Nepeta Six Hills Giant, and it is enormous and actually almost covers the box balls and spreads across the gravel into the border. But I've also planted over a series of years, because they're quite expensive, these bulbs, I have got some pink alliums, and they're called Pink Jewel, I think. And I've got that, they're coming actually, they're all coming up along here. I also have some on the other side. So I've got the full impact here. So we have the clipped structure, we have the gazebo, and we have the frothy blue sea of the Nepeta. And then climbing up here and just on the other side, I have got the Rose Pilgrim. And I do love that combination of yellow and blue together. So when the Rose Pilgrim is flowering and the blue Nepeta, also I have just above me here, coming up and over this gazebo, is a Solanum. And the Solanum has that beautiful delicate blue flower you can see here with a yellow centre. So it all ties in beautifully. You've got that, the yellow pilgrim, the blue Nepeta, and it's like heaven just sitting here on a summer's day. It's wonderful. And also this point where we're standing, there's a really nice soft view along the border as it curves round. I'm going to make a start on cutting back and tidying up. Then we're going to split the iris, and then we're going to top dress this border today. Hopefully we'll get it all done. We shall see. I'll see you in a bit. Well, we have almost come to the end of the day and almost at the end of completing what we intended to do in this south border here. We're going to split this variegated iris and move a clump of it to just here where Tom's ladder is. But otherwise, everything that needed cutting back has been, and you can almost tell straight away by top dressing this area, everything just starts to pop out. Anything fresh, new shoots, you can really start to see them, and it's wonderful. And it gives me great hope that the coming weeks, everything will just keep getting bigger and bigger. There's a few things I may need to stake. Oh, I can hear Tom coming. He's on a machine. He's been at the other end of the garden and he's on his way back. Another thing that we're probably going to do is lift and divide some of this iris, which is a different iris. This one is the Iris siberica, which is a beautiful blue one. We'll see how we are for time, but hopefully we'll get that done too. And then we can finish top dressing this area. One thing I absolutely love about this part of the garden is that on a summer's day when this is bursting with life, we can just get to the end of the day, have a glass of wine and really enjoy this part of the garden. Right, Tom's here now. Hello, darling. Okay, so here's our iris, and the best way to split it is to actually dig the whole thing up and lay it on its side and then cut sections off and then replant it. But I just want to give you a quick look inside, and you can see how it is all separated, which actually makes it a lot easier to split. With the help of a spade, as we look above and down, you can see there's a big hole, and then that, and you can see these new ones here and here that we're going to split. So we'll probably be able to split this into at least 3, maybe 4. It's a case of going all the way round the plant because it's very well rooted. It's been in a few years as well. But it clumps up really well, and it's really useful to have and split up and move around the garden. Unfortunately, you have to be quite brutal. Now this gives us a much clearer, and you can see it's almost divided itself. And then all you need to do is literally separate it with a sharp spade. So here we have 2. Let's have a closer look. 3, and I think that one can go back. Yeah. So we've got 4 lovely clumps. And still lots of nice roots on as well. And all of this here that we've sliced off will grow new roots and come back. There we are. We've put one of the clumps back in, which will be absolutely fine. And replace it with the soil. Give it a really good drink. And then this hole here is roughly sitting in the middle of that one and that one. We'll give that a good drink. And then we've got a barrow of top dressing that we can spread around the base to just finish up this area, which I'll do now. And then we'll probably choose the middle one out of here, which will go in there. Now, when we take a step back, oh, thank you, darling. And now as we look down here, we have a really good flow going. And by having punctuations of this one variety of plant, it just creates a nice continuity and flow from wherever you stand as well. Look at that. We now have 1, 2 clumps plus these as well. I mean, we could divide these up even more, and there's one with some roots to it, and that will form a bulkier plant in due course. So I think what we might do is we'll just heal these inside the wall garden for the moment and have a think of where else we can put them in the garden. Great. Right, we're going to do exactly the same with these Iris Sibiricas as what we did with those irises. And again, you can see how they formed like a ring. So once we lift them out, we can just chop and divide. In and amongst, see where Tom's digging out here, there's a slight different leaf. There's a slight different leaf, and these are nerines that were given to me that I planted years ago, and they've been slightly engulfed by this iris. So I'm just going to try and flip them out.
What's that? Is that an area?
Yeah, you can tell by the bulb. Whoops. Yeah.
There's 4 of them in there.
Let me get a fork in and I'll tease them
1, 2,
out.
3, 4.
Yeah.
At least 5.
Could be.
Unless that, I think that might be the top of the one that I broke.
Yeah. So you can see.
Yeah, that's better.
There we go. So these
There's one.
are nerines. Yeah. And these poor things have been slightly overtaken by the iris. But what we can do is we can replant these once we've dug out this iris and split it up. Okay. Here's what has been dug out, and there are lots and lots of little babies we've made. I mean lots. A wheelbarrow full, which I'm going to wheel into the potting shed, and I can deal with all of that tomorrow and pot a lot of them up and maybe decide if there's anywhere else I'd like to put them in the garden. And now we're left with all the little divisions, and Tom's just replanting the nerines. Give them some space, and then we'll give this a water, and then we'll just finish off the top dressing here. Well, I think we're all done here. Everything's been watered in, and we've started to pack away before the sun completely goes down. And it looks really, really tidy. And we've got plants, more plants to place elsewhere in the garden or give to friends, or maybe even sell at our open garden event that's coming up on the 24th to the 26th of May. I'm going to look forward to sitting over there this summer and enjoying all of this flourish. Well, I hope this has been helpful to you today, and thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.